Welcome back to yet another 213 Crispy video, and today we have a Yardman by MTD leaf blower. So it claims 425 CFM out of it. So first things first, I'm gonna take the cap off. That way it's a little easier for me to manage around for you guys to see. But what we have is an issue with some starting problems. So he says when he... So I do apologize, my memory card just filled up while I was in the process of recording, so I don't know what all exactly you got to see and what you did not get to see. So I apologize, I'm sorry, but I can't fix that problem. But this is the carburetor that came off of our lawnmower, or sorry, our leaf blower, and it was on... This is the back of the leaf blower, and it was on like so. That's your throttle linkage. These are your adjustments. So you've got two sides to these pumps, or these carburetors. One side is going to be your fuel pump. So let's start by checking the diaphragm. So 4 Phillips head screws. These are usually not on crazy tight, and you do not need a ginormous screwdriver for this. You just need a very simple, smaller sized screwdriver. So I believe, nope, I thought it said, but it doesn't. So pop that off, and then what you're doing is checking. So you notice it was working when I pushed down on this. So that tells me the diaphragm is working, and I don't want to tear that apart too much more. I like to get the diaphragm off and inspect underneath it, but I don't think I'm going to have that luxury, because sometimes these things just are on, and they just don't want to come off without ripping seals or anything else. So tip on getting these apart, if you smack them a little bit, the vibration will actually get them to come apart. So you notice it's that quick jolt is what will get that to pop off. And on this side there should be 2 layers of gasket material. That's why I'm trying to be gentle on getting this off, because I'm trying not to damage this, so I don't have to worry about buying a rebuild kit for this particular lawnmower. So there we go. So take your time. Usually you can get them apart. So this looks really good actually. So we're not going to do a whole lot of cleaning to this because it's not going to require a lot. And let me get some cleaner and stuff, and I'll be right back, guys. Okay, so we got our cleaner, and I was able to get the pump diaphragm off. So it actually looks really good, so I'm pretty sure we're good with that. So underneath the diaphragm you've got another small Phillips head screw. Now the key to this is under pressure, and there's a little spring, so gently hold that down as you take that screw out, and you're going to notice, if I turn this aside, you can see the spring. So that spring holds the lever, the arm, and the pin all together, and underneath there is going to be a needle. That needle pops out, and that's probably as far as you really need to get this thing apart to truly give this a good cleaning. So what I'm going to do is we're going to count how many times this goes closed before So we're going to hold it like so. That's a half, 1, 1.5, almost 2. So I'm going to take this all the way out now. And that's the far side one. And like I said, these are special screws, so you need a special screwdriver to get to them. So this one is half, 1, 1.25. So the other one was almost 2, this one was 1.25. So that right there tells me odds are something unfortunately got a hold of these, and I'm not saying that they moved by somebody with like a screwdriver, I just think they might have vibrated themselves a little loose. Because usually they're pretty close together at the same time. So you're going to start with taking your carburetor cleaner and find an orifice. So in this case, we're going to start here. That looks good. Let's go here. So that comes out of here. So that's good. That should be clear because I can see through it. That's good. That's going to come out there. Same thing over here. That's going to go out that way. And then that's going to be your fuel, which is clear. And then we'll do this one, which should come out somewhere over here, I believe. So that comes out right there. There you go. And then last bit, I'm just going to do the jets. And they are both clean. So that's how you clean one of these small carburetors. There's not a lot to them. It's just patience and time. So let's start by reassembling everything. So needle, spring, pin, just like so. Take your small screwdriver with the small Phillips head. This does not have to be crazy tight, it just needs to be snug. I'm going to put the needles back in. So that one was 1.25 if I remember correctly. So that's the quarter, and one full turn back to me. Should be right there. And this one was almost two out. So that's tight. So we're gonna do 1, 2. Good enough. That gets us close. till I can at least get it fully assembled. So now the pump diaphragm goes back on. The side with the little nipple that sticks down is going to be the side that actually pushes on. What happens is it pushes on this, so when it opens this up and pushes down, it opens the needle, lifts the needle up, and allows a little bit of fuel to come in. So that's what the pump does, and that's why you'll see it pump, and it'll shoot fuel out, and that pushes fuel, and that's what that does. That's why it's called diaphragm pump. So next step, you're going to put your cap back on, and it's going to be held onto place by these 4 screws. Again, these don't have to be crazy tight, just get them snug. And I'll go in a crisscross pattern, that way you kind of get an even seat with that diaphragm pump. Three, and this is the 4th one. That's 4. And then flip it over. Last side you got to worry about is this side over here. So it only goes on one way. You can't put it on backwards. It doesn't work. The reason why the little hole right here has to line up with that tab, so that tells me the red side faces down and goes over there in that corner. And there's one also on this corner. So you can't put it on backwards. And then the same thing if you try putting this on upside down. I mean, you could get it to screw on technically, but it's pretty obvious that your throttle and your adjustment for your governor or your throttle idle screw, then take you a good sized flat head or Phillips head if you had a bigger one. I just happen to have a flat head around. Give that a nice snug up. And that's how you rebuild the carburetor, a little Walbro carburetor. So these are a lot easier than a lot of the lawnmower engines. My nemesis though is these little 2-stroke engines, because they just don't like me for some reason. I mean, I'm not afraid to work on them, so I struggle with them. And it's usually more of just fine-tuning, which we'll figure out together. So let's get you readjusted here real quick, and we're gonna get this carburetor slapped up into here. So let's get this camera readjusted and I'll be right back, guys. Okay, I got you reset up. So this goes basically in the reverse order it came out of, and it's not too complicated because your throttle linkage is only going to go on one way. So start with your throttle. Well, if I didn't just accidentally knock off my fuel. So we'll start with adding the fuel line first, since I just got a bath in fuel. Then your throttle linkage will be next. And we're going to put that in the farthest slow position. That way it gives me a little bit of extra room for my big fingers. And then the other fuel line goes up top, so pumps in and then pushes out the top. And that's how these function. They're very simple, very easy. Now there is no real alignment that's needed for this until you go to put your assembly back together. And what I mean by that is these long screws hold on everything, and part of that is going to be the okay, oh, there it is. I'm blind. Right in front of me. So this assembly all mounts using these hardwares. So that's why I said taking these off, it's not the end of the world. And then they'll go through here, and then that's when they'll line up in there. So let me figure this out off camera real quick, because I forget the exact orientation, and then I will be right back, guys. Okay, got it figured out. I was trying to do it backwards. So the key to this is your carburetor adjustments screws need to face upwards, and they need to be facing as far out as possible. And that's why I had it flipped over. Actually, I had it backwards, like flipped around. That's why it was not wanting to twist around and sit like I originally was like, wait a minute, this doesn't look right. So start by running your screw through. I'm going to hand start this, but I'm not going to tighten it up because I want to put the bottom one in. And it goes in the same way. But what I'll do is I'll stand off to the side so I can see what's going on, and very gently reattach these back in. So you don't want those on crazy tight, simply because they are plastic. And then I want to check to make sure that I did not get any of these fuel lines pinched, because unfortunately this design does not leave you with a whole lot of room. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to try rotating this so you guys might be able to see a little bit better. Which looks good to me. That top screw is way too tight. It's a little better. Still don't feel right. So I'm wondering if I put the cap on, if the lever's on backwards. So the only way to find out is to put that back on. Yeah, it looks right. It's just not setting up the way it's supposed to. There we go. I'll tinker this off camera. I'm not gonna make you guys sit here and watch me try to struggle with this thing, so I'll figure this out in a little bit, but we'll go from here and we'll do some testing in a minute. And that is it. So if you guys like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. I use the thumbs to track down videos to figure out what you guys like and what you don't like for future videos. Also, make sure you go slap the subscription. I think it's in the top right corner, top left, wherever it is. Give me the slap for your subscription. Also, if you're interested in AMSOIL, go check out the link down below for that. Also, I will send a link down below for the Amazon products that was purchased for this, which was the air filter box and assembly and all that, and the spark plug. Other than that, I believe that is everything, and you all have a fantastic and wonderful day. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.